Well, here I am again, and we're on the living island today, and we're going to talk about the pileated woodpecker. Now, the thing is, last week, Jim Saunders, who's waiting for me, and we were in the woods here, and we saw the pileated woodpecker, and Jim took pictures, and then David, who's doing the photography right now, and Sean were on the island, and they saw the same bird, maybe. So anyway, we decided, since it made itself known, to make it known to everybody now. As most people know, the pileated woodpecker is a fairly large bird, I would say the size of a crow, but the difference is where the body of the crow goes right into the head, the pileated woodpecker has a neck. And you don't see that in a lot of smaller birds. Most of the time there's no neck. And it has and then this pileated head. It's mostly black, kind of whitish underneath here, and of course then the red head. I found out, because I'm not really a birder, but I found out that when you look at the bird and you see this mustache right here coming out of the bill, if it's black, it's a female. If it's red, to match the head, it's a male. So that's the way to do it. They're native to North America. As you see here on Beaubears Island, it's an inhabitant of deciduous forests, but it will also obviously take in mixed and coniferous forests as well. Its territory is from the eastern North America, Great Lake area, boreal forests. So it goes anywhere from, say, around the Great Lakes, which has different trees than we have, to the Acadian forest, of which we have, and then north of here to the more coniferous forest, but you will see it and hear it. The term pileated, I never knew what it meant, but it refers to the bird's, of course, permanent or prominent red crest. And it comes from the Latin pileatus, which simply means capped. So where else can you go to find, something about a bird and Latin in the same sentence? They're big birds. And I'll do metric and what I'm used to at the same time. Adults are 40 to 50 centimeters, which is roughly 16 to 20 inches. So you're looking at a bird the size of this, which is actually sometimes bigger than a big crow, more like a raven. The wingspan is 65 to 75 centimeters, which is 25 to 30 inches. So you're looking at 2 feet to almost a meter wingspan. That's incredible. It goes from 250 to 400 grams, which is 9 to 15 ounces. I don't know how it tastes, but this guy you can make into a meal. An average weight is 300 grams, which is 10 plus ounces for the average. Each wing is between 9 and 10 inches. So you're dealing with a wing like that. You put them together, you're getting up there. The tail alone is 14 to 17 centimeters, which is 5 to 7 inches just for the tail coming down. But we all want to know what the bill is like, because that's what the pileated is all about. And the bill is 4 to 6 centimeters, which is 2 to 2.5 inches, something like that. That's a long bill. And when you watch these things, it's a pneumatic drill. The males, again, like the red mustache, the females, the black mustache, right here under the eyes, bill. They see it right there. Now, as a big bird, this thing's got to eat, and it usually goes after insects, which is what the pecking is all about. He's looking for insects under the bark. But his delicacies are carpenter ants. Maybe they taste good, and also a wood-boring beetle larva. Now I know something about the larvas of beetles and other insects. Outside being the food of the future for protein, they're supposed to taste reasonably good. I don't know, I've never had one, and it'll stay that way, trust me. But they also eat fruits, nuts, berries, and poison ivy berries. And I wondered when I read that, do they get a rash? Because I would. It's just interesting how sometimes animals will be ingesting plants that we can't even touch. The nest. This is really weird. They go to a large tree like some of these that I'm looking at right here, and they'll make a fairly large hole. I mean, they're talking like holes like this. I mean, they'll just, until they get it. Then they excavate the cavity within. Now, they don't build a nest. What they do is, when they're cutting out the cavity, all of those wood chips fall to the bottom. That's their nest. And they lay 3 to 5 white eggs. They're probably way up in the trees, so you probably never get to see them. This is where it becomes weird, though. A woodpecker can make such a large hole in a tree, and they're usually sometimes dead trees. And you'll see them, spruce and stuff like that. The bark is off, they're dead, and again, you don't have to go through the bark, and you just go right into the tree. They can make these cavities and stuff so large that a dead tree can actually split in half. So if you find a tree that's down, split in half, try to look and see if there's a hole about yay big, and then you'll know why the tree fell. Owls, and sometimes ducks, like a wood duck that builds a nest in a tree, they may go into the hole because the woodpecker makes this, lays its eggs, has its kids, they all leave, and they never go back to that hole again. All I could think of is the male woodpecker every fall hearing, "We have to redecorate the house or move." And they move. And he goes, "Oh, I got to do this again." And all winter long, he's contemplating this notion. I got to just make a new house for her. Anyway, that's what they do. So you have owls in there. You have maybe wood ducks. But sometimes a mammal such as a raccoon will use them. Now, it's got to be a small raccoon or a really big hole. And I had this vision of an owl, and then a wood duck, and then a raccoon. And I'm going, that wood duck is not coming out. I know that. So they help bring down dead trees to start recycling the forest. They give places for other animals to lodge and raise their children. So you got to think about this bird. It's not just here doing its own thing. It's part of a community, and the community interacts with one another and a lot of times helps one another. We should keep that in mind. The thing that I find interesting now, and this will come time in the winter, the woodpeckers stay in their own territory, and they will defend it if necessary, but they're usually open to some people visiting. The idea is, while they may change trees, we may find that, like the eagles here, we may have a permanent family of pileated woodpeckers, as long as there's dead trees, or I don't know if they want to really go into a live tree. That's work. It's not a migratory bird, so it's here, and if it's not on the island, it's going to be over there in Nelson or over there in Newcastle. They're not going to go far. The oldest known pileated woodpecker, and this had to be in captivity, was 12 years and 11 months old. That's pretty old for a bird. Well, that's mostly what I have found out about a pileated woodpecker, but there's something I have known from a little kid about a pileated woodpecker, and that's its call.